Welcome to episode 31 of season 5 of Whole Lot of Wolves. I'm Joshua Buckley with my co-host Paul LePage.
Hello.
We got in New York City, Alex Patakis, our great producer.
Hey, guys.
We have our resident wants to be Irishman, Mr. Danny Boy in Baltimore.
Don't put that on me. I just like to drink. Good evening.
And joining us again, you used to know him as Nothing But Neto. Now he's Stone Cold Strand Larsen. He is also co-host of the Crying Wolves podcast. It is Adam. How's it going, Adam?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on again. Good to be back.
All right. Is everybody wearing green today? I couldn't wear this great Mexico Wolves kit because it's my wife's and it does not fit me. She was like, don't you dare stretch it out. So looking at this kit, Paul, what is your favorite Wolves kit that is not gold, black, or white?
Probably my Portuguese one.
The Portuguese one?
Because it was Adidas, still pretty good quality.
Mm-hmm.
And it just had that feel of like everything good, everything new, all that Portuguese contingent. I'm going with that one.
Danny?
Yeah, I like the Portuguese one. I like I always associate a certain kit with like a certain player, and it just like immediately makes me think of Moutinho, obviously the Portuguese connection, but it just like that's that shirt for me. And I guess I'll go with the blue one from last year that I associate with Toti. It's just like I made that stupid edit of him modeling it, and it's just like that kit for some reason just makes me think of Toti.
How about you, Alex?
I was going to say the blue one too. I thought the photo shoot they did of that was really good. I will nominate one nobody said yet that's grown on me a little, and it's the third kit from this year.
Ooh, the purple.
Don't hate it. I mean, I've seen worse, put it that way. And I've seen worse in that color from other clubs. That's for sure.
Adam?
The teal one from a couple seasons ago that João Gomez made his debut in and scored that goal against Southampton. I think.
Yeah.
I bought that exact kit after he scored that goal. I was like, all right, this is my guy. And then he changed his number from 35 to 8. So.
Yeah. That's always what you got to worry about. Well, guys, we got 3 points. And Danny, I think you called it. Wolves completely safe from relegation now. We're 12 points clear. Really 13.
We can go over all that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But Paul, 2-1 win. Little squeaky bum times at the end, but Wolves pull it out.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been anything other than Wolvesy if it wasn't for that more conceding when we're in such really a dominating position at that point. But I just thought throughout the course of the game, we handled it pretty well and we were pretty professional. So when you put all of that together, it really just showed, I think, difference in quality, certainly between the starting lineups, even on the bench as well. It really showed the gap between ourselves and them, even to the extent that we've not been very good this year and they've been a lot worse, and it really showed. But add all that together, there's been far too many seasons when we've gone to those types of stadiums and lost, like Huddersfield springs to mind from a few years ago. So to go there, be relatively comfortable, maybe could have kicked on and won even more, I think was just a good, solid performance. And importantly, I think it was one of those types of results that we've been crying out for, and it's kind of Vitor's MO, and he delivered on it. So that's pretty sound.
You know, I always joke that Andrew Smith is our resident curmudgeon. I think Adam is up there with him as well. And boy, Adam, you were not liking the lineup, were you?
No, I think it worked for Everton, knowing that it was just going to be midfield battle, defensive battle against Everton. and it was just going to be everyone knew that game was going to be a draw. But when you're playing a team as, I don't want to curse, as crap as Southampton are, to play such a defensive starting 11 was kind of annoying. Is Hwang healthy or not? TBD, but definitely someone with more attacking threat should have been on the field for at least Munetsi. Bellegarde did fine. He had that cross, but yeah, it's just so frustrating to play such a defensive side. But if it works, it works. Can't complain about 3 points. This is not the season to have silky football, I guess.
Well, for us JSL apologists, Danny, it was a good day. And the first one was just a great header. Look, the announcers were just you could tell they were just furious that they had to be there at that game, much less with Southampton's defending. And JSL, hey, wasn't really marked, but it's still a nice workman effort by a striker to be able to put that away.
Yeah, I mean, it's the defender wasn't really even in the same zip code, to be honest. But, it's not going to matter a whole lot to him. I mean, it's still a well-worked goal and a a well-struck goal if it's a header. He did well to do it. The fact that the defender was basically absent, it doesn't really say anything about his effort to get his head on the end of it. And yeah, I mean, he's talked like in the official Wolves podcast about going through a dry spell and sort of alluded to how we don't like quite play to his strengths. And I think that's all really fair. And I don't think we can really underestimate how important that's going to be for him going forward, especially however many games were without Cunha, having him find not just some form, but also some confidence. And like I said, maybe 1 or 2 podcasts ago, if we're starting to play in a way that benefits him more, that's more trying to get his head on the ball or whatever, instead of trying to just give it to Cunha all the time, hopefully that'll sort of feed into it as well. So yeah, good day for him.
Alex, I felt at times when I was watching Southampton that this is a team that would struggle to stay up in the championship. Like, they looked just dreadful.
Yeah, they were really bad. I don't know what else to even say about them. I mean, like, the defending was really poor. Wolves definitely should have probably finished with more than 2 goals, but there was some questionable decision making in the second half. I guess the one thing that you could say about Southampton that bodes well for next season in the championship is that they'll likely have a very similar squad, if not possibly even be able to improve it. Because there's not a lot of guys that are getting poached out of that 11 to play in the Premier League or even any of the other major 5 leagues in Europe, I would say.
I don't know. Aaron Ramsdale was connected to Chelsea a few weeks ago. So.
Yeah. Okay. Short little aside about Ramsdale, because like we were going to spend time talking about him today. I was out watching this game. I love this little period where the time change is in our favor. So the gap between our time, Eastern time, and time in England is shorter, because it means it's like more regular drinking hours. So when you go to the bar to watch these games, it's fine. So I'm out at the bar. All this is to say, I'm out at the bar. There's not a whole lot of people there. And this woman is there not watching the game at all, probably absolutely baffled at the fact that Southampton versus Wolves is like the game that's on TV when there are other games on it. It wasn't a great slate. But then they show Aaron Ramsdale after the goal is conceded. And apparently this woman is an Arsenal fan. And she just screams out, "Ramsdale, please come back. Nobody likes Raya. Please come back. We need you back at Arsenal." I'm like, that might be the only Arsenal fan in the world who feels that way. I'm like, what
was
is
it his mother?
It was. She was a little too young to be his mother, I think. And I was just absolutely confused. I was like, there are Aaron Ramsdale fans? Like, I just don't get it. And
typical Arsenal fan doesn't know ball.
I know. I was like, how can this possibly be? I mean, and then the rest of the game, like every time they would show him, she would say something like, God, I can't believe we let him go. I'm like, the guy's about to get relegated for the third time. Like, what are we doing here?
Paul, is there a former Wolves player that went on to another club and was dreadful, but you still wanted him back at Wolves?
I think my probably my go-to with this one is always Neil Emblem, and this is going back like late 90s now, who was a fairly big money departure to Crystal Palace and then didn't do very well, had that like price tag on him. I'm pretty sure he went to play top flight football at the time as well. So he made that move, it didn't work out, and then we re-signed him, I think, on loan, transfer deadline day, and then made a return permanent. So that's always had that special little highlight for me when it comes to those players.
I mean, mine would obviously be Adama, right? No shock there. Paul, Strand Larsen has 9 goals. Do you know that? Well, of course you know. There have only been 5 times a Wolves player has went over 10 or more goals in the Premier League. I'd say, do you know who that is? But you're looking at the notes, so of course you do. It's Raul Jimenez did it once. Cunha and Huang did it last year. And Stephen Fletcher did it twice. So why then do you think JSL is still getting like people hating on him? I mean, he's about to enter rare territory for a Wolves player.
It's a tricky one. I could see some elements are just a struggling team, and then him being the figurehead of the attack.
What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of to my earlier point, we weren't really geared towards giving him chances. So, he went through sort of streaks, especially in that sort of Gary O'Neill part of the season where we weren't doing so well. And, another little fact that came out after this game is that this is the first time that his goals have contributed to a Wolves win, which is partly just we've been shit most of the season. But it's like we weren't really playing to his strengths. He was sort of having to play this sort of, weird role as the most forward player, but also sort of supporting this number 10, whatever Cunha does, who was scoring all of our goals. So I think like it's easy for him to hide even in games where he does score, which is kind of unfair on him. And then, I also think we've been a bad team and the fans have been rightly like very frustrated at most of what's been going on. And so, it's hard to like notice a player who is like quietly going about it. And the fact that he's also like been out for a little bit with an injury and then had a little dry spell recently, I think all contributes to this. And suddenly his 9th goal is snuck up on us. And I think he only needs 4 more to equal Raul's first season total, which in the last 9 games, I think is entirely doable. I don't know whether I'd put money on it, but I think it's certainly within the realms of possibility.
Now you're talking me and Alex's language, putting money on it.
Yeah, speaking of, that was the best bet I hit all weekend was him to score first in this match.
Yeah, he did.
And a beautiful header. I thought that ball from Bellegarde, it was cha-ching. Loved it.
Yeah. The closest I'll come to a betting tip is I would wait to see how long Cunha's ban is. If he is back for the Ipswich game, then I would be a little more wary. But if he's going to be out for like, a total of 6 games, then I think it's entirely possible. But yeah, anyway, it's just kind of been interesting. And also, I mean, Strand Larsen is younger than most of the people that we listed there. People forget that I think he just turned 25 not that long ago. So he's still got a ways to go. No one's saying that like, oh, well, he's going to beat Raul's record 2 years earlier or whatever and suddenly become the next Raul. Like these aren't the same player, but like he has room to grow.
So Adam, what are your thoughts then on do Wolves need Cunha to come back this season with JSL if he's able to step it up like this?
I mean, I don't know if we need Cunha for anything anymore. I think I looked at the odds of us getting relegated. It's like 1% on Opta. So what are we fighting for, right? Like, what are we playing to? Are we going to catch up to the teams that are 10 points ahead and, really do anything? Probably not. We'll probably sit in 17th at the end, regardless of how well we play the next 9 games. And if Cunha is going to be gone in the summer, then I'd rather play a team that supports Strand Larsen as opposed to give the ball to Cunha and hope he does some magic, because that's the team we're going to see next season. And we should be preparing, hopefully, to our next season in the Premier League. Odds are that we will, not to steal Danny's thunder of uncatchable, but that's kind of where we
steal it.
I don't want that. I don't want that. People targeting me for that. I just think we should be supporting the way Strand Larsen plays, feeding him the ball. I mean, that's his first or second header all season. I think we have less than 5 headed goals. Maybe we just have 1 or 2 all season, and it's because nobody puts crosses in. And you have a 6'4" center forward, the one we've been crying out for since Raul's injury, and we haven't been playing to his strength. So the short answer to your question is I don't really think we need Cunha back regardless, because he's probably gone this summer, and we need to see what the team is going to look like.
I think to that point as well, with particularly the second goal, how refreshing it was to have the other 2 forward players involved with the link up, yet neither of them are out and out forwards. So that just gives you an indication of potentially what Strand Larsen could do even more if he's got a really able partner that complements his game alongside him, or there's a creative arm to the other side. That could really be a dynamic forward line. And I'm not going to shit on it too much, because you certainly celebrate them when you go in. But just imagine if that was maybe Cunha picking up the ball in and around the box. Is he going to craft that move, or is he going to have a shot and yet the shot might go in? It might be a worldie. But how many times has Strand Larsen missed out on opportunities because the creativity hasn't been there, the selfishness has been there? It's great when it works, but what's the options if it doesn't?
Yeah, I'll just add on something that you were saying about the creativity that I don't know if he's going to come up much for the rest of the podcast, because we do have quite a bit to talk about and some fun things to look forward to. But just a moment for Jean-Rickner Bellegarde, because is he the most creative player in the world? Not necessarily. Although, Strand Larsen coming into form, it's not a coincidence, is coinciding with Bellegarde kind of finding his groove a little bit. I mean, this is a player that nobody really knew what position he was supposed to play. He wasn't an out-and-out winger. Maybe he was kind of like a box-to-box midfielder. He kind of subbed in when we had some midfielders suspended and not. And now he's playing kind of this advanced midfield role along with Manetzi. I mean, the guy does anything he's asked to do, and he does it fairly serviceably. And so far, I think he does this better than almost anything he's been asked to do. So, you don't want to hang your hat on one performance against Southampton, right? But even if he were coming off the bench in some capacity next year as someone who, when we need a bit more creativity and more attacking thrust, or if he was in a starting 11, I wouldn't feel that terrible about it. And his defensive output is way higher than Cunha's will ever be. So, I could feel Vitor kind of starting to have Jean-Rickner Bellegarde's stock rise and in the way he's thinking about these performances. And I just thought he was really, really good in this game. So
I like that comparison someone always puts on X when they put his stats next to Mateus Nunes's. His goals, assists, and Nunes's very, very minimal contributions injected into your veins.
Well, guys, it really should have been a big-time blowout. I don't know what Giancarlo Guedes was doing, Paul, but he was just brain dead when he came on, including blowing a 4-2 break, João Gomez missed like what should have been an easy goal. It was starting to feel a little Wolvesy, wasn't it?
Just that break, I think it was literally from the halfway line. I was going, pass it to your left, pass it to your left, pass it to your left. And he kept on going, he kept on going. And it just totally teed up to play that through ball for Nuri to run onto, to either hit it off his favoured left foot or with the players the opposite side, square it for a tap in. So how they can botch those opportunities, goodness only knows. But this is what not frustrates me, because you kind of expect it to a certain extent, but a defender would absolutely get shit on if he made that type of mistake and probably cost a goal. Yeah, a forward can do that, and it's just like you roll your eyes and that's it. But those are that's the extra touch of quality that we've been missing like all year. That's the extra touch of quality that those effectively squad players lack, that you can't put a chance like that away against a team like Southampton, all due respect and everything. But that's where we're at. That's the type of team we've been this season. If we're uncatchable, that's the elements that have got to change for next year.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think like Adam, when the lineups came out, I was a little disappointed. I just thought that, not that, Geddes has been amazing throughout the season, but he's had moments where he's provided an attacking spark in that way. And you just think this is a good chance to have someone who can play on the transition like Geddes. And then he does that when he comes on, and you can make the argument he might have been better to start with instead of coming off the bench. But it's just those kinds of decisions, man, that's why you're not starting. And it's so frustrating, because I don't think that Marshall Monetsi is way better. But, if you're going to gamble, then I guess Vitor is right to gamble on, let's just, keep it tight and put the player on who can defend. But it's really frustrating, because at a game like this, like Adam said, you'd think that we could go and sort of put it to them in the first half. And it's frustrating that then when you give people these chances, that literally when he played that pass, finally, I think all three of his options were offside. It's so frustrating. Anyway, I just had to get that out.
I just wonder whether Gedge is actually healthy, and I feel like we just put him on needs must.
That's fair.
He had a knee scan a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's playing, and we're not playing Forbes, and we're not playing Rodrigo Gomez, and we're not playing any other forwards. So I think Gedge only came on because he's able-bodied but not healthy, and I think that contributes to his poor performance, because we haven't seen that brain-deadedness from him in the past, and that's hard to develop randomly from a player who's kind of been a mainstay of other good teams across major leagues. So I agree it was a bad move, but I do wonder if there's something more there.
So then after that gaff on the 4-on-2, Southampton came back and scored right away, and then things started to get dicey. So hold on. Oh my God, I got a cramp. Hold on. Okay.
Gosh, we're trying to keep this to an hour.
Yeah. Don't add that in stoppage time. Paul, what did you think of the dark arts going on by Wolves to close out a horrible opponent?
It's a lit that the Wolves cramp has suddenly has evolved from the Jose Sarr mystery injury on the 20-minute mark, which was Gary O'Neill's MO. So there's some elements I can't remember what part it was, but when Bellegarde went on that run and straight away pretty much needed to be subbed, I think that was only 65 minutes, and he just trotted off like he was spent. So I do think there's an element of skullduggery in there, but again, it's nothing what anyone else does. So I think we've long been asking for a little bit more nastiness or play those dark arts a little more. So it's been done to us plenty of times. So you take that whatever it's.
I don't know, Alex. I just had a bad feeling when they started doing that the stoppage time was going to be incredibly long, and Wolves were going to give it up during then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to act like I wasn't a little bit nervous, but I will say there's a far different comfort level when Agbadu is playing. I don't know. I maybe I'm a little too overconfident, but I'm generally comfortable with Wolves in defense since Agbadu has come back and Toti's playing as the left center back. So yeah, I did not have that feeling actually. Weirdly enough, maybe that's just me being overconfident.
Well, guys, as Danny said after the match, boy, Vitor Pereira is very good for content creators. He got up there afterwards and was talking about, hey, we got 3 points. I'm going to have 3 pints. Just wanting to go. Have you ever seen a Wolves manager that isn't English that is this thrilled to be in England?
I don't think so. I think it's a case of all of like the factors coming together that you hope it's just a perfect storm of someone who really wants to be here, really loves his job, but then at the same time can form bonds and get a rapport with the fans that's pretty much unparalleled. I don't think I've seen anyone like as happy right at the end of that shitty 2-1 win against Southampton than he was, doing his little jig and clapping along to the away fans. But I think it's brilliant, and I don't generally think it's a little tough to tell, obviously English being its second language and everything, but I don't think what he's saying is for show in any way. I think it's a genuine it's his genuine beliefs, it's his genuine way of looking at things. So I think it's brilliant. For me, has he touched on those Nuno heartstrings? Like a little, now it's starting to get that feeling. So as with everything, like I think we've had our fingers burnt too much as it's gone with managers since that time, but you're just hoping that this could be the one next season going forwards.
All right. I got to ask, 3 pints for 3 points. Like, show your hand here. On average, okay, Vitor, you haven't been in Wolverhampton very long. We've been suffering through such a small fraction of Wolves' pretty miserable history ourselves, but much longer than yours. How many pints would you say you normally have when Wolves win? Like, not lose, but an actual victory? Because 3 seems a little light, right? Like, come on. Like, what's... I think I was at 8 on Saturday.
How many did Danny have that one time where he could barely spell?
Yeah, that was at least 8. Yeah, I don't remember which one that was. That was probably, I think, maybe the win against Spurs, the late Lamina goal. But yeah, I lost count at that point.
Well, one other thing that Vitor said, along with his love for pints in Wolverhampton, was that Toti Gomez was an animal. And we agree, Toti Gomez has been just fantastic, really, the last few games since he's come back from injury. So my question is, Paul, what animal is Toti Gomez?
Toti Gomez is a gazelle. Quite like, kind of graceful. But then you've still got that feeling of when a young gazelle's just been birthed and kind of stumbles around a little bit and then finds its feet. So I'm going with that when it goes to Toti.
How about you, Adam?
I would have said a pit bull, but that's got to be reserved for João Gomez. So I guess I'll go with like a greyhound for similar reasons as Paul, that when he needs to track back and get the business, he does the business, but he also is one to make a little error, a little snafu here and there. Thankfully, it hasn't really lately led to anything bad. That's I I just jinxed the whole team, jinxed Toti for the rest of the season. But yeah, I would say something like that.
Well, that got us thinking, who are the spirit animals for some of the other players? So I'm going to go around, ask a few of you. Danny, what animal is Jose Sa?
Who's the most mischievous animal? Some sort of small monkey or something, or I don't know, even a common house cat. I could see him knocking a glass off of a table just to see what happens.
I have 3 cats, and that's pretty accurate. Alex?
I like the cat theme for Saw because also his reaction time is pretty good. One thing he's very good at. So I'll stick with that.
All right, I'll let his namesake go. Adam, who is JSL's for an animal?
Grizzly bear, is that so? I mean, he holds up the ball. He is aggressive when he needs to be, when he can get played in. Yeah, I think grizzly bear. Just to add, Jose Sa, I was going to say trash panda raccoon. So
Yeah.
That's about right.
And my family still lives in the home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Paul, JSL, what animal is he?
Quickly Googling native Norwegian animals tells me that Strand Larsen is a reindeer.
That's what I was going to. Is there another native Norwegian animal that they're known for?
It's on the internet. It's got to be true, but
Yeah.
he can be graceful. He can bring good spirit. Good at carrying stuff like presents and Santa Claus and stuff. So yeah, it's a reindeer.
Speaking of
Just
reindeer, if
instant
you have
reindeer.
not had reindeer sausage, I highly recommend it. Just some of the best. Now, when you're serving it to your 6-year-old daughter, you don't tell her it's reindeer sausage. You tell her it's Alaska sausage. Alaska sausage. Tip for you young parents out there. All right, Rodrigo. Alex, this is you written all over it.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of the most loyal animal that there is. He gives me like golden retriever energy. I think just like he's imprinted himself on his mate, and he will never stray from her. And that's like what he literally lives for. So I'm going a golden retriever.
Adam?
I've got to say, this one's so obvious that it's a lovebird.
I was going to say penguin for the exact same
Penguin
reason.
was what I was going to say. Yeah! It's 100% a penguin because penguins only have one mate.
Ah.
They are also the nastiest fucking animals alive. I worked in an aquarium for 3 years, and I had penguin shit on my shoes all the time, and like their stink just embeds in your clothes. So we used to play pranks on people. We'd go on exhibit with shoes, and then we'd put those shoes underneath people's desks, and it would just stink it up. So this is the stuff you learn listening to a whole lot of wolves, guys. Paul, who is Andre?
Andre is a lion. Just middle of the pack. He's got that aura about him. Doesn't fuck around. He's a lion.
Alex, you have the jersey, so you have to say Andre.
Yeah, he has to be some type of predatory animal, that's for sure. Lion's a good shout. Some type of jungle cat, or yeah, maybe a cougar or like a leopard. I don't know.
All right. John Belagar, Danny.
Yeah, you gave me the difficult one, but I immediately somehow got in mind of that clip. You may have seen it because it kind of got famous once Snoop Dogg started doing commentary over it, of the like mongoose or some other small rodentary animal being chased by like 100 snakes all at once.
Yes, that's a fantastic video.
And it's just like he has that kind of ability. I mean, we used to see it with Adama, but he's more like running back style where he's just got that third wheel that he puts down sometimes. But like Bellegarde can be similar where he just kind of like gets out of things despite taking hits that he should probably go down from. We probably should have had a penalty because he should have gone down earlier in the season. But that's what I think of where he's really good at getting out of little spaces. So I'll say, I don't even know what animal that was. I will say that it was some sort of marmot.
It was a mongoose. I'm pretty certain.
Mongoose. Yeah. So we'll say mongoose.
There's some good ones coming in here from our live viewers. Mr. Joey Brain says, saw the sloth and a ferret for Rodrigo. That's a good one. Minnesota Todd says, Andre's a badger. Yeah, honey badger don't care. Honey badger don't give a shit. And then JRB is a phoenix, says Drew from Pittsburgh. Ryan Aitnery, Paul.
I've been struggling with this one, and I want to get it in somehow. Yeah, but Joey Brains took it already. But my daughter wants a ferret, and I think Aitnery is very ferrety-like as well.
By the way, Chris Fisher.
I could also go like some kind of bird, like a secretary bird. He's been up drinking all night. I was gonna say like some kind of like bird. I don't even know if they're technically predatory, but like a secretary bird has like very long, spindly legs and like kicks its prey in some special way. I don't know. I'm not David Attenborough, but like, he has those tiny little legs and somehow just will
hairy.
excise the ball from from the tiniest little spaces. So that feels like what he is.
Aitnery has some damn monkey legs, man. Those are like the hairiest legs I've ever seen. Drew from Pittsburgh again says Aitnery is like a chimpanzee who smokes, which I just love that visual now. I had to save this one for Adam. It's your favorite player, Sarabia.
I would say like a mouse, like it can probably solve a complex puzzle if you give him enough food as a reward, but he's gonna get pushed off the ball pretty easy. You can't pass for shit. Things that mice do.
I figured he'd be a guinea pig because he's like one of those pets where like it seems like they're enjoyable, but really, what do they do? I don't really know. And finally, I'll ask all of you guys this. Matheus Cunha, Paul, what animal is Matheus Cunha?
He's a dolphin, so he can be beautiful, he can be graceful, but then he can be a little bit of a shit as well. So he'd be like the SeaWorld dolphin walking past and splashing you and stuff.
Alex?
Knows how to dive.
Yeah. With Cunha, I'm so stuck in dogs because I spend so much of my life with dogs, meeting dogs, but like he just reminds me of the dog personality of like the rescue dog who is really good when it's your dog. But there's going to come a moment or two on the street where he absolutely snaps and attacks everybody and like is inconsolable. And then you basically just have to like remove yourself from the situation. So that could really be any dog breed, but certainly a dog that spent some time on the streets. That's what came to mind for me. Yeah.
Adam?
I don't think you can beat Dolphin. I think Dolphin's perfect. Well done, Paul.
Danny?
No, I'm gonna tie it up and vote for Alex's. I love the rescue dog scenario that is going to bite a stranger when you least suspect it.
I think he's an exotic bird, lovable, friendly, but they have the temperament of 5-year-olds, and so they can snap like that. That's another one I'll save a story for anybody that's interested in my time working at an aquarium and zoo. Here's a good one. What animal is Paul, Danny?
Oh, I can't go giraffe. I don't know that you've quite slimmed down enough to be a giraffe. I don't know.
There is an answer to this, I can tell you as well.
We already used bear, but I think bear is not the worst choice. I recently saw a TikTok where they were just demonstrating how tall bears are. They have them like in captivity, and they just like train them to like stand up to their full height, and it is fully terrifying. Yeah, meeting Paul at the airport is a little bit shocking.
So there's a show I grew up with in the UK, a kids TV show called Rainbow. Like the three main characters were all dressed up as like puppet, like real. I think there were two puppets, and the other one was this big furry bear called Bungle. So my brother always used to call me Bungle Bear because he was the biggest and had the biggest head, and he always said I had a big head, and I have kind of.
Oh my God! I'm just looking this up now.
It's true, isn't it? I'm big, I'm hairy, you've got a big head, like body hair now, so
Your cheeks are not that big, Paul.
I'll take Bungle the bear.
Alex, what animal is Danny?
Oh my
God. The first thing
real awkward.
I don't know why, but the first thing that came to mind was an octopus, which I think is a great compliment because I think they're known for their intelligence, right?
Okay.
And I quite like octopus, and octopi, right? Let's go for that.
Okay,
I'll take it.
Paul, what is Alex?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's the golden retriever in my mind, is Alex.
Oh wow, I'm flattered, honestly.
There is an element of like playful loveliness of him, but then that cheeky gonna get into mischief might end up with your head in the trash can as well. So it's gotta be a dog. It's gonna be a bulldog.
Oh, bulldog. Okay. Is it like one of those bulldogs that needs like a bunch of care and like stuff put in its wrinkles and everything?
No, just you're giving a nice belly rub and they're pretty content. Might snore a little bit too much. And
the comments are great. Minnesota Todd says you're a koala, Alex. Mr. Jelly Brain says you're a llama.
A llama, interesting. I've never gotten that one. I definitely have a bird-like face. I'm surprised no one went in the bird kingdom, but I would gladly be a bulldog. Although I take exception to the wrinkle thing. I mean, I may have to. I don't think I need Botox yet. I'm like on my way, but so far we're okay.
And finally, I'll let whoever wants to take it. What animal am I?
I feel like Paul's known you the longest. I'm not trying to put him on the spot. I feel like Adam's going to come in off the top rope with something.
Yeah, Adam's got something just cooking up over there.
No comments. No comments.
It's probably a titty baby is what he thinks.
There is so much pointing towards it that it's just some type of cat.
One of those asshole cats.
An element of it, there's like the loving, doting cat, but then there's the asshole cat that wants dinner and is constantly putting you on the leg in order to get dinner. So there's a definite element of that.
I think that's pretty accurate. What do you think, Alex? That sound good?
Yeah, I think so. I the first thing that came to mind was a cat. I don't know if it's the cat I'm thinking of, but Cheshire cat. What do those look like?
Yeah, I went as the Cheshire cat for Halloween when I was 5 years old.
Oh, did you really?
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Case closed.
Yeah. I thought that's for some reason that's the first thing that came to mind. But I want to qualify the cat thing with you'll definitely be one of those cats that has the ability to have a dog-like personality at any point, but like is still gonna always revert back to the catness.
To Minnesota Todd. Josh is whatever animal loves Uncrustables the most. Yeah, damn straight. Yeah, the I think that the Cheshire Cat works good, Alex. I know when I was in sports writing, I had a coach say that I was a smiling jackass one time. So there we go.
You got the smile at least.
Well, there you go.
Smiling, hey? Well, the international break is next, so we don't have a game to preview. The next one's going to be on Tuesday, April 1st. We won't get to see our friend J-Lo. That's a shame, but hey, 9 points clear relegation, so let's go.
No Stupid Questions is brought to you by Esfuerzo Wines. Located just north of Santa Barbara, California, Esfuerzo Wines showcases passion and 3 generations of winemaking in every bottle. Whether you're toasting some Vino de Vitor or winding down after a day of work, let Esfuerzo Wines transport you to the heart of wine country with each sip. Now at esfuerzowines.com, you can use the promo code VITOR, that's VITOR, at checkout to receive a 30% discount off your order. And don't forget to try the special edition 1-pack wines to show your passion and support for Wolves with each glass. This message is intended for those of legal drinking age. Do not drink and drive. Excessive alcohol consumption may be harmful to your health. If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol abuse, please seek help. Esfuerzo Wines reminds you to enjoy their product responsibly and in moderation.
Time for No Stupid Questions, our favorite part of the show where you, the listener, could ask us anything, and there's a number of ways that you can do so. You could do so on X at WLWpod. You could email us, hello@awholelotofwolves.com is the show's email address. And for those of you who are watching live on the stream, you could always throw your questions in the chat, and we will get to them there. And thank you to our friends at Esfuerzo Wines. Take advantage of that deal. I was having some Esfuerzo wines with some friends, Esfuerzo wine with some friends over the weekend. Got stuck into some rosé. Spring is in the air. The weather is changing. My wine consumption increases dramatically when it's time to be out in the sun. So I got to load up again soon. I'm going to take advantage of that VITOR promo code to get 30% off. Let's start with Todd DeWitt, who did email us, who says, if you were to sleep in a Wolves top, interesting, which top would you wear and why? Paul, ever find yourself going night-night in a Wolves kit?
No, but I think I would probably take this one all the way back to when we first had Puma kits. And this was like 90, 96, 98-ish times. Vividly remember Robbie Keane in it. But it was the first one that I ever purchased a long sleeve because they'd never done them before. So to have a long sleeve Puma top, comfortable to sleep in, that would be my go-to. I'll go that original Puma one.
All right. Adam, if you're sleeping in a Wolves top, you have a choice.
Yeah, I would say the Portugal Adidas kit that Paul mentioned before as one of his favorites. It is very soft and comfortable. I would say that's the best one to sleep in. Yeah.
I'll say this about Adidas. They may not always have the most original kits, but they're really comfortable kits and well-sized for us fatty Americans.
Yeah. I'll give some background on this question, I guess. This came up in a group chat. I had sent a picture as evidence of something unrelated that had Todd DeWitt in the background, and he was wearing his retro kit that you often see him in. And Stu just interjected, completely apropos of nothing, that Todd sleeps in that kit. I sent it to Todd, and he said, Michelle put an end to that. So we know what his answer is. For me, I think it's probably the one I associate with Neto the most, which is that lockdown season. So the home kit that year that had the black sleeves. That one has always been kind of looser fitting. It feels like a sleep shirt. And that year I happened to size up just because the last year's was a little bit tight. And so that one is a a little bit loose, it's a sleep shirt on me. So.
I'd be interested to know which Wolves kit you want your lady to wear at bed.
This is not a route we need to go down.
Rodrigo Gomez.
Oh, the Rodrigo jokes will never quit.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to Drew's question at Drew Freakin on X. What would make you most sad this summer? Aitnor leaving for 30 million, João Gomez leaving for 50, or Andre leaving at all? Adam, who would you be most sad to see go?
I would say João Gomez leaving for 50 because he's easily an 80 million pound player, and he should sell for way more than Cunha's BS release clause. I think that would make me the maddest, but would not surprise me at all if we negotiate such a terrible deal for such an amazing player.
For the record, if Aitnor left for 30 million, they would owe half of that to his old squad, or they have to buy out that clause for 10 million. So really, we'd only be getting him theoretically 20 million.
Yeah. I mean, that's priced.
The answer is clearly João Gomez, because how often do you have a player in today's game that sticks to his word? He agreed with Wolves. OM came in. He said, OL came in. He said, fuck y'all. I committed to Wolves. Like, that right there made him a legend. And then he scored in that first contest. And he's a Wolves guy, I feel like, one of those scrappy, he represents Wolverhampton. He'll do the dirty work.
My count's out. I'm going Andre, and I'm with Todd in the comments, like him leaving it all. I think he's just his type of game could be so instrumental for crafting the whole team around him. Whereas I rate João Gomez, but I generally think he's replaceable. Not obviously to the same caliber of player, but I think there's a balance to be struck with whoever you're able to play with Andre. So I do hope if he does end up leaving, he eclipses all of that, because I think out of certainly those two players on that question, and maybe possibly he's irreplaceable as much as potentially Agbadu as well, from the fleeting games that we've seen him in. I think he's got that quality to him also.
If João Gomez leaves, there's a pretty good player, a Portuguese player who's in Saudi Arabia these days. I think he plays for Al Hilal. I think he's 26 or 27. We might be able to get him for a couple mil.
Might be looking to move back to Europe before the World Cup.
Yeah. While we're on that topic, it's a good time to go to Joey's question in the chat then, as we allude to Mr. Ruben Neves. Joey asks, who is the better duo, João Moutinho and Neves, or Andre and João Gomez? Josh, what are you hopping on this one first?
I'm going to go Moutinho and Neves just because there was a little more of an offensive threat there. I think Andre and Gomez is a fun one, but Moutinho and Neves was probably more well-rounded overall.
Yeah. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I don't agree. I think Andre Gomez is who is the better duo. Definitely the more athletic, combative duo. Moutinho and Neves could pick a pass, but were they really being as aggressive in their tackles? I don't know, especially not as a tag team of Bash Brothers in some ways. Yeah, it depends on what you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's so hard to pick between because of that. Like, it really can't be understated how much that midfield was completely locked down in those first two seasons back in the Premier League. it took Dendonker so long to even get into that midfield. For so long, we were playing with two midfielders, neither of which is like, as Adam said, like as good a defensive midfielder as Andre. The fact that the two of them were the two midfielders for a bunch of those famous wins against really big teams is so impressive. So like, I kind of agree with Adam in the sense that like the current midfield is like, I feel like we're really playing to their strengths. And so we get to see them tackle all the time. But on the other hand, in terms of like, I don't know, pure footballing talent, it's hard to vote against a midfield too that has Moutinho in it at all. So, so I guess I slightly edge towards that one, but I see the points made on both sides.
Hey, just wait until that Weston McKennie, Tommy Doyle midfield.
Oh man,
for Leeds.
Nice. Paul, are you going Moutinho, Neves as well?
Yeah, talked to Drew's comments in the YouTube chat. It's just that goal threat, and there was always that anticipation of Neves from outside the box or a free kick. I've not got excited about a free kick since he's left, just because we're not going to do anything with it. And by far, he wasn't the most prolific, and I just think it's probably looking at it back fondly, but you also had more of a goal threat with Moutinho than Xiao and then Gomez and Andre as well. So put that together, just those magical Europa League nights. It's those two for me right now.
But no more short corners either without Moutinho. So that's kind of a net positive too.
Definitely.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, let's we got two more quick ones from the chat. Let's sneak this one in from our friend Chris Fisher, who I believe is still over in the UK. He's still going hard, watching live with a now 4-hour time difference for the time being. If João Gomez was a beer, which one would he be?
So it's only 1 a.m. in the UK. That's a little better. He was actually after the match, guys, texting me and Danny at 4 a.m. UK time.
No, I mean, on match day after a thrilling 1-1 draw. Oh, the most recent one after the Southampton win?
No.
The Everton one.
Just
the
watching that
draw.
one at home. Like, I was like, please let it be a night game. My God. João Gomez beer. Anybody? I'm going to say for me, I'm going Tecate, but it's caveated with a Tecate that is a Michelada. I know that's Mexican and not Brazilian, but I mean, I can't think of a lot of spicy beers. So that's why I'm going with that answer, because it's got literal hot sauce like on it. So I'm going with that.
I'm going to say it's some kind of cider, because it's like, oh, this is awesome. It's like, I really enjoy this, blah, blah, blah. But the bite is hard and suddenly you're wasted. And so I feel like, João Gomez has that sweet little boy look, and then he's a pit bull. So
on a similar track,
a very hard cider.
On a similar track, I'm going for a pint of Stella. Looks good, can be refreshing, but packs a punch after 3 or 4 of those.
I would say a silky Guinness.
Ooh, nice.
Love it. I really like Joey's answer in the chat, so I'm stealing it. A black and tan. I think that's a great answer.
Yeah. There we go. Final one. For those who might not have watched the Carabao Cup final, might have just taken the opportunity to do some more exciting things like laundry on a Sunday, you might not know that Newcastle defeated Liverpool in the final 2-1, and we're asked by Drew whether or not Newcastle's Carabao Cup win is depressing or aspirational. This is an interesting one. What do you think, Adam?
I will take this one. It is depressing as all hell. It's wonderful for them. It's wonderful for a non-top 6 club to win. But that really should be us, right? Like, all of the success we had when we first came into the Premier League and building up just kind of have Newcastle have once they changed ownership and were able to invest. And yes, the money is dirty, but at least they've been investing and trying to get better and bringing in new players and, just progressing towards something, maybe taking a couple steps back from when they were in the Champions League to falling out of those places, but now they're fighting again. That's what real owners do. That's what a real team with smart people working for you, moving in the right direction. That's what it looks like. It looks like them competing at the top and winning cups instead of 17th after 7 years in the Premier League with one striker and 0 forwards.
Paul, you remember our good friend Alan from the Toon Army, who was convinced they were getting relegated, and then they got bought by the Saudis, and suddenly, success, guys. So with that in mind, I'm neither impressed nor aspirational. I'm just kind of meh.
That was always the way with Alan, though, that he continued to say how much of that influence they I forgot what the owner, Mike Ashley. It was just like we'll be in this purgatory of bad ownership. We'll flirt with relegation. We'll spend a chunk when needed, or maybe one player like they did with Almiron. And the Wolves have got that feeling about us at the moment with the current ownership, and I just think we're light years away from that now. We've shown some promise in the transfer market that maybe we've got an eye for a player, but can we bridge that gap now from where we are to where Newcastle are? No. And should we have done? Should we have eclipsed them? Should we have built on every incremental little positive forward step throughout this journey? Yeah, and that's what's most frustrating about it all. It's such a missed opportunity. Jeff Shee could talk about being Man City all he wants, like 4 or 5 years ago. The way you do that is you grow and you gradually grow into it, and they've just recessed, gone backwards.
I am going to say Wolverhampton is all about the fossil fuels, so I would be A-okay with the Saudis coming in to buy it from Poston.
I know we've all been super positive about this question, but I'm going to bring it down a bit and say that there's even more to be depressed about in this. There's a small sliver of aspirational where it's great that like we're actually in a moment where, whether it's the overall quality of the league or other factors, a lot of teams that aren't normally up near the top are fighting up near the top. And that's a good thing for Wolves, because if Jeff Shee does decide to get his shit together, there's maybe not as far to go. But the additional bits that I was thinking about at the time and since is that, you've seen these stories come out now that with them winning the EFL Cup, and that gets them Conference League and all the other permutations of possible European winners, that even 11th place might be a European spot this year. And that several things have to go right, but still that could happen. And it's like, we were talking about an 11th place finish at the beginning and weren't even being particularly aspirational. We were just saying like, hey, that'd be like doing okay and kind of moving forward. Can you imagine if we'd had an 11th place season, like whether that means like getting rid of Gary O'Neill earlier or any number of other choices that were made along the way and still got Europe? It's just like, again, these missed opportunities. It's so depressing just seeing them be passed by mostly Jeff Shee, but there are many other people involved. I will end on a high note, though, and point out, like Todd said in the chat, that it does mean that John Ruddy won some silverware with Newcastle. So good for him. I'm happy for him.
John Ruddy, who out of principle is my backup keeper in Fantasy Premier League all season long, because he is one of the cheapest players in the game, and who wouldn't want him in your clubhouse, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Hey, he will stand up for you if your FIFA ratings are low. We saw that he was sticking up for Adama, baby.
Yeah, good teammate. Good teammate to have. I was joking, by the way, about laundry being more exciting. I mean, for me, maybe not, but I'm not trying to take away from winning a trophy. I would kill
No,
to be
don't go
watching.
back on this.
I would kill to watch
Slowly
Wolves
pull 'em.
win
You
a
don't go back on
Carabao.
this.
I would kill to watch Wolves win a Carabao Cup. I would probably go. Like I'd probably if Wolves are at Wembley, I'm saving a certain amount of Sky Miles for the last minute trip to book for that, because I would kill for it. I don't care if it's the Carabao. So good for them, and depressing for us because we were in the pole position to be this team. Like not that long ago, we were right there, and we've gone so far downhill. But anyway, all right, that's it for No Stupid Questions. And don't forget, esfuerzawines.com. Go buy your wine there, and when you go to checkout, use the code VITOR, VITOR, to get 30% off your order.
Guys, I've been drinking 115 proof whiskey. Maybe explain some things, and I'm all out. So, Adam, how can people get a hold of you and listen to the Crying Wolves podcast?
If you want to reach out to me, I'm at Nothing But Neto, Stone Cold Strand Larsen on X. The podcast is Crying Wolves Pod, available wherever you get your podcasts, ad-free 100% of the time because we don't make any money off of it. And give us a listen. And thanks for having me again, guys. Appreciate it.
That brings this week's episode to an end. Thanks for Alex producing, Danny on the socials, you, the listener or the streamer, for that support, because it goes a long, long way. Please do everything you can for liking our content, sharing it. If you are new to our YouTube channel, please go over there and subscribe, because all of that helps increase the exposure and grow the pack stateside. So we will be back next to preview that upcoming West Ham game a little closer to the time. So if you're celebrating St. Patrick's Day tonight or at any point this week visiting a bar, ask the bartender for 3 points, then 3 points, and then say up the mighty Wolves.